Not only do these rubber guards right here have a purpose, but they're also the windshield wiper washers. That's right, these are washer heads. So they spray the windshield and they catch the windshield when it falls. It's kind of like a relationship. Let's go ahead and click on the like and subscribe button. That's right, with the little bell icon. When you click on like and subscribe, you're actually helping out the channel a lot. We are here with the iconic Jeep Wrangler. That's right, the Jeep Wrangler. But before we get started, I wanted to go ahead and say a special thank you to Tony. Tony's actually the owner of this car and he lent it to us for the day so I could get some great shots and also bring it to you so you could see how this feels. And also maybe if you want to pick one up for yourself, maybe you should. Now let's get started at the front here of this vehicle. I want you to take a good look at it. Do you see any Jeep badges? Anywhere? Do you see anything? How about a Jeep logo? Nothing, right? This is one of the only cars on the market that does not have a badge or a logo on the front. The reason for that is Jeep decided this is actually their logo. The entire front grille of the car is their logo. Sounds a little crazy, but when you're really secure about your surroundings and you're driving a Jeep, maybe it's not so crazy. Another thing that I wanted to point out to you is this car is very serious. The bumper here, this is a sports bumper. Now there's no panel gap like there is in the Rubicon, and that's for a reason, because it's the Willys Jeep, not the Rubicon. But I wanted you to take a look at the lights. These lights are optional. These are actually LED lights. They're not halogens. These are halogens on the bottom. And these are LED. I'll turn them on in a minute so you can see how they look. But basically when they're on and activated, they form a circle here. And it gives a very aggressive, off-road, mean look to it. Not every car has that. Maybe some BMWs do, I don't know. But this car, for the price range, has LED running lights. Come on, that's great. And also a projector to enhance your field of vision at night. Now the old Jeep just pretty much ran off of halogens, and I'll tell you, I drove an old Jeep. The visibility on that was trash. You couldn't see at night. It was really hard to do a lot of things if you wanted to go off-road. But this car right here gives you that option. And now, of course, you can get aftermarkets, but just spend the extra money and get it from the factory. It's much better for you. Now, if you take a step over here, I'd like to show you something really impressive. These are 17-inch rims, right? And take a look at this. It's a nice steel rim. That's an option that comes on the Willys. Not every Jeep has that. Some of them have what looks like hubcaps almost. I'm just kidding, they're not hubcaps, but you get the point. They don't look that great. But on the Willys Jeep, you get that and a good amount of clearance right here in case you want to put larger tires. So it's not a big deal. You can actually just go ahead and swap out your tires and you've already got the room here to put your tire. So now you start to notice a little theme here on this Willys. Everything you see here is functional. It's not fake. For example, the hood latch is functional. Let me demonstrate here. The other hood latch, it's not fake. It's functional. Seemed a little surprised there. All right. Well, check this out. You've got a 2-liter turbocharged engine producing 270 horsepower and 295 feet of torque. Pretty impressive for a little machine. And it's all you're going to need when you're going on the road or off the road. Now they do have a V6 turbo diesel coming out, or I should say eco diesel coming out pretty soon here. I've heard some rumors that eco diesel might not be all that great for a few reasons. Number one, it's going to be an eco diesel produced in Italy from the Fiat department. I don't know too much about Fiat eco diesel departments, but last I heard, Cummins diesels were top of the line. And to get a diesel from Italy might not be a great idea. Just a word of advice, you might want to stick with the 4-cylinder. So we have over here a basic engine layout. And if you notice something else, there's no struts. For simplicity purpose, you've got a simple prop. That's right, no gas shocks, nothing. Just a simple prop to open the engine. When you kind of take a look at this car, it has a basic theme. Everything seems real and everything seems functional. But it doesn't stop there. Let me take you to the other side of the car. Functionality. Jeep. It's almost synonymous. So we have the Willys logo here, which I already pointed out to you. But before we get into the back of the car, or maybe even the side profile, I want you to take a notice of how the engineers take this car so seriously. You see this? This rivet right here is actually used to go ahead and remove sound and wind to make this car more usable on the road. It takes out a lot of that buffeting from the old Jeeps. It doesn't have functionality for the off-road, but it just makes it more functional on-road. They didn't have to go out of their way to do this, but they did. And the holes are real functionality. On this side of the car, you'll notice that the Jeep is spelled out in black and the Wrangler Unlimited is spelled out in black with the trail rated in black. Do you know why that is? Because this is a Willys edition. In this section right here, you'll notice that the door rivets are actually in place to be removed. That's right. They're in place to be removed. And if you zoom in here, you can see that there's an actual size to go ahead and remove these doors. This whole car is functional and it comes apart if you need it to. So you could take it on the sand, the beach, the forest, maybe even the ocean. I don't know. You could drive it straight in and see what happens. Moving along, you'll see more rivets that you can take off and disconnect the doors if you want to. And then once you get to the back, you see a traditional gas cap, nothing fancy. It's all functional and it's all good. When you get here, you start noticing that there's a little bit of a difference in this 2020 redesigned Jeep versus the old Jeep. This pillar, I call it a pillar because it's actually sticking out so much. This is also on purpose. You're probably saying to yourself, why would you want your Jeep light to be sticking out the side of the car? There's a specific reason why the engineers did that. The reason is the blind spot monitoring system is actually inside of this light. And they needed to make this light system stick out to be able to pick up the signal from the blind spot. Sounds weird, but it's functional. So starting off at the back here, you could tell right away there's a lot going on. I've already explained to you about these lights and their ability to harness the blind spot monitoring system. But also, something really important about them is that they're LED'd. That's right, Jeep went out of their way to make these lights LED to match the front lights. But it doesn't stop there. We've got some hitches, because this is serious business. And we also have a big full-size 17-inch tire. You notice something else special about the tire? There's a camera right in the middle of it. And the camera is actually encased in metal, so it doesn't get damaged. Good thinking, Jeep. If you take a quick look over here, you'll notice on the rim, there's a little Jeep logo. And that's what you really got to love about this car. They're going out of their way to make this iconic. They're going out of their way to make this a Jeep worth noting. There's little hidden Easter eggs everywhere. Now, why would they do that? Why would they brand this car so far out to make it Easter eggable? There's a reason for that. Because they care. Now, I'm going to show you something else that you might not be aware of. The engineers actually took it a step further with this Jeep. You see this tire? We've already talked about the tire, and we saw that there's a little iconic Jeep logo here. But how about this third brake light? Anything special there? This third brake light is actually adjustable right out of the factory. So if you get larger tires, you're able to adjust your third brake light. That way you don't have to go around modifying your systems or spend countless dollars trying to get the tire and the third brake light to work. It's all functional. It's like they thought of it in advance. So right when the rear door swings open, you start to notice everything's intentional about this car. Nothing is just because. Well, at least maybe when it comes to this Jeep logo right here, that might just be because. But these rivets are actually real. And these rivets are designed to hold on to rations of gas, tools, maybe even food. You simply strap them in through these rivets and you have them on your door for your access. Now over here, the Jeep engineers went a little crazy and decided to Easter egg some more stuff. I don't really know what all this information means, but there's obviously a design of 2-door 4-door and some wheelbases here, mentioning that it was built in the United States since 1941. Now this plaque, I'm sure, has some meaning, giving all the stats of how big the Jeeps are, but I just personally think it was a touch, an Easter egg for you, the Jeep owner, to get excited about. Probably doesn't mean anything. The engineers obviously thought of everything when they built this Jeep, because there's even a place for you to sit down. You know, if I wanted to right now, I could have a seat. Actually, I think this is probably just a groove so the tire could fit better. I don't know. What do I know? But I will tell you what they did think of. This area right here is designed to hold all the screws. And what screws are they going to hold? The door hinge screws, the roof screws, and the windshield screws. Do you know why? Because all those components come off. That's right. You could literally strip down this car. And when you strip it down, at least on the Willys edition, you have these color painted things. I don't really know what they're called, but they're things. That'll really make the car pop and look good when you're driving down the street and everything's color painted and it matches. I'm just kidding. I know what they're called. They're called pillars. Okay? So don't make fun of me or leave rude comments. I know what they're called. So right off the bat, when you get in the car, you'll start to notice that things are a little different. There's pretty much Jeep everywhere in this car. And you know what? It's all rubberized. And there's a reason for that. The whole interior of the car is designed to be washed down, literally with a hose. Like you could take a hose and spray this interior down. And why would they design it like that? Because you're going to go off-roading and you're going to get mud on it. That's why there's no power seats. That's why there's no power steering wheel. Because it's all designed to get washed down. The other thing that they took a lot of time and attention to detail was they put logos of the Jeep everywhere. Logos on the steering wheel. You've got logos on the center console. You've got logos on the drive right here. Put it in reverse. Put it in park. There's a logo right there. There's a Jeep. There's even a logo of a Jeep. That's right, a Jeep. On the air conditioning. This little icon right here. The AC is a Jeep. You've got the hill descent with a Jeep on it. They went completely Jeep mad. You know, that's one thing I gotta hand it to them about. The fact that the Jeep is everywhere. When you buy a Honda, you don't have Honda logos everywhere. You don't have exclusivity. The same buttons you get in the Honda Accord is the same buttons you get in the Honda Civic. But in this, it's like everything is tailor-made for this particular vehicle. It's unique. Now the list can go on and on about the creature comforts in here, considering that it's a Jeep. But a couple things that they did get very right was putting some plugs here for 12 volt and also some media plugs. Now these media plugs are USB. They have auxiliary plugs here. And also they've gotten the switches dead in the center for the windows, so you can take the doors off. And everything is rubberized. Again, it's weather treated, so that way you can hose it down. But there's something else about this Jeep that you don't know. The Jeep is actually a transformer. I'm just kidding, it's not a transformer. But if you look up, the roof of the Jeep actually comes off, and there is insulated panels here. Now, if you don't like the look of these panels, you can actually get them with carpet to add more insulation. But I really wouldn't recommend that, because the carpet is just an added expense, and I suspect it's not going to provide that much protection as far as insulation from the outside world. So me, I would just save the couple $100 and not get that. But it's up to you. Also, if you notice here, there's a home link feature. So you can open your garage or your gate. There's a lot of little creature comforts in here. It's not just your standard Jeep. It's basically made for every day. And taking it even a step further, this particular Willys model has the heated steering wheel. That's right, a heated steering wheel and heated seats. The cloth seats on here, they actually get really hot with heat. So if you're on a nice hot summer day and you want extra heat, you just push a button. Right? That's what you do. When you're hot, you want to get hotter. You don't want to get colder. Right? Isn't that how it goes? Probably. But I'm just kidding. Actually, all the features here are really great and really functional. And there's even a grip bar in case you get into an accident, so you have something to hold on to. Of course, the back seat fits an adult, and probably fit some little kids. I can guarantee you that. We don't need to go into all the specifics about who will fit back here because it's pretty obvious. I'm a pretty big guy and I fit back here. But one thing I wanted to point out to you, the exoskeleton of this Jeep has some pretty remarkable things. For example, these speakers, they're mounted into the frame. So when you're traveling outside and you remove all the panels, you get sound not coming from the engine or the wind, but you get these nice speakers delivering music. It's perfect. It's perfect. They think of everything, these Jeep people. So if you're dangling from your Willys Jeep like a crazy person, you'll start to notice these rubber guards right here. They're actually to catch the windshield. That's right. This windshield actually comes down. You take off these windshield wipers and put down the windshield with the toolkit that's usually inside of the Willys Jeep. Not only do these rubber guards right here have a purpose, but they're also the windshield wiper washers. That's right, these are washer heads. So they spray the windshield and they catch the windshield when it falls. It's kind of like a relationship. Well, enough about all this. Let's go ahead and take a drive. Let's get started. So right as you jump in the car, you start to notice a few things right off the bat. Number one, when you sit down in it, you're sitting down in a perfectly straight position. You feel like you just jumped into a tank of some sort. Next, you feel really secure because the car feels like a box. So you just feel cocooned around you and it actually feels really great. I love the feeling. I can't really describe it, but it doesn't feel like your average SUV. It kind of feels like this is its own thing, like a toy. You know, like you just got a toy, you unwrapped it, and you jumped inside the actual toy. So, without further ado, I'm going to actually put this car in gear, put it into drive. Right off the bat, you start feeling the sheer size of it, but it doesn't intimidate you. It's really like just driving like a basic SUV, but you know you're driving something different because you can feel that the tires are actually gripping with the road really heavy. So again, you start to feel that the tires are really connecting with the road, and you know there's a little bit of like steering sway. What I mean by that is, you know, you can lollygag with the steering wheel, but it's not really turning the vehicle. You know, you can kind of drive like this and still be going straight. It's kind of cool, you know, because it's a lifted car and it has height advantage, so it's got that going for it. The acceleration, I mean, it's a 4-cylinder Jeep. It's got grunt, but it feels fun. It doesn't feel stagnant or like it's not giving you all it can give you. It feels like it's actually doing something, which is really rare for a car this size and this big with a 4-cylinder turbo, you know? Making turns in this, you feel really secure. You don't feel a lot of body roll. It kind of feels very precise. And, you know, when you're looking down at the instrument gauge cluster here, you can clearly see that it's marked 45 miles per hour, dead in the center, and you know exactly how fast you're going. You've got all the information, the tachometer, you've got the speedometer, you've got your center console here. The buttons are well centered and well placed, so you don't really have to guess around. You can actually probably feel for just what you need and find it, which is a big plus. The brake feel, the brakes, you know, on this thing, I think that they're adjusted a little bit too soft. That's just my opinion. I think the Willys Edition Jeep feels good, but you know, the brakes may need to be hardened a little bit. It just feels a little squishy. I will tell you this also on the subject of the brake and the gas. The spacing in between the brake and the gas pedal is pretty big, and I theorize that they probably do that so that way when you have on work boots or outdoor boots, you don't accidentally smash the two pedals together. you've got a good space, you know, which makes sense. Acceleration, like I said, it's moderate, it's decent for a car this size. And I really do think long trips and just city driving won't be a problem in this. I feel like it can really maneuver the situation. Like I said, the steering is precise and good. And, you know, visibility, as far as visibility is concerned, the rear visibility isn't all that. It could be better, but I mean, what can you do with a design like this? The side visibility is okay, but I will tell you this, there's enough windows all around the car to make up for any lack of visibility to a certain extent. But I could see reversing being a little bit of trouble if you didn't have a camera. But thankfully we have the camera, so we're good. Other than that, it's like driving a typical car. Let's go ahead and click on the like and subscribe button. That's right, with the little bell icon. When you click on like and subscribe, you're actually helping out the channel a lot.